I pulled into my brother Gregory's driveway that Christmas evening with a bottle of expensive wine and gifts wrapped in silver paper. The house glowed with string lights, and through the front window I could see the massive tree twinkling. I wanted to believe this year would be different. 6 months had passed since our last tense conversation about money, and I thought maybe we had moved past it. I grabbed the presents from the passenger seat, took a deep breath of cold December air, and walked up to the front door. When I pressed the doorbell, I heard laughter and footsteps rushing toward me. Before I tell you how that Christmas dinner turned into the worst night of my year, let me ask you something. Where are you watching this from? Drop your location in the comments below and hit that like button. And if you want to hear how I turned their cruelty into my greatest victory, subscribe and stick around. You will not believe what happened next. The door swung open and Amanda, my brother's wife, stood there with a bright smile that did not quite reach her eyes. She pulled me into a hug, her perfume overwhelming as she kissed my cheek. The warmth from inside hit my face, carrying the rich smell of roasted turkey and sweet potatoes. Behind her, Gregory appeared, beer in hand, grinning wide. "Donald, finally, get in here before you freeze to death," he said, stepping aside. I walked into their home immediately, surrounded by the chaos of Christmas. The living room was decorated within an inch of its life. Garland draped every surface, stockings hung from the mantel, and presents were stacked high beneath a 9-foot tree that nearly touched the ceiling. Their 2 kids, Lily and Max, came running from the kitchen, their faces sticky with what looked like cookie dough. Uncle Donald Lily shrieked, jumping up and down. Max crashed into my legs, hugging them tight. I handed them their presents, watching their eyes light up as they tore through the wrapping. Lily gasped when she saw the collector's edition doll I had picked out, and Max nearly dropped his remote-controlled race car in excitement. They thanked me quickly before running off to show their grandmother. Amanda watched them go, then turned to me with an expression I could not quite read. "You really did not have to spend so much," she said, but her tone carried something else. Not gratitude. Something closer to calculation. "They're my niece and nephew," I replied simply. I wanted to. Gregory clapped me on the shoulder, leading me toward the dining room where the table was already set. His in-laws, Harold and Patricia, were in the kitchen finishing up the last of the food preparations. I could hear Harold's booming voice complaining about the oven temperature. We sat down around the table 20 minutes later, plates piled high with food. Gregory sat across from me, Amanda to my left, and the kids bounced in their seats at the far end. Harold and Patricia settled in. And for a few minutes, everything felt normal. We passed dishes, complimented the cooking, and made small talk about the weather and upcoming New Year's plans. Then Amanda set down her fork and looked at me with that same calculating expression from earlier. "So, Donald's still single, no girlfriend yet?" I took a sip of water before answering. "Yeah, still focusing on work mostly. Just have not found the right person yet." Gregory laughed, a sharp sound that cut through the pleasant atmosphere. "You're 34, man. Clock's ticking. Most guys your age have kids in elementary school already." I forced a smile. Everyone moves at their own pace, I guess. The conversation shifted and I relaxed slightly. But then Amanda brought up their house hunt, and I felt the room's energy change like storm clouds rolling in. "We have been looking at this gorgeous 5-bedroom place in the suburbs," Amanda said, her voice taking on a dreamy quality. "Perfect yard for the kids, great school district. The only problem is the down payment." Gregory nodded, taking a long drink of his beer. "Yeah, it's a killer. We're about 20,000 short." I kept eating, hoping they would drop it. They did not. Amanda turned to me, her smile too bright. "You still live in that tiny 1-bedroom apartment downtown, right? Must be pretty cheap rent. What do you even spend your money on?" The question hung in the air. I set down my fork carefully. "I am saving most of it, actually. Maxing out my retirement accounts, investing in index funds, building security for the future." Gregory actually laughed out loud. "Retirement fund? Brother, you are not even married. Who are you saving for? You gonna take it with you when you die?" "Patricia," Amanda's mother chimed in from across the table. "He has a point, dear. You are all alone. No family to provide for. Seems like such a waste to just hoard money." I felt heat rising in my chest, but I kept my voice level. "I am planning for my future. You have no wife, no kids, no real responsibilities. What is the point of having all that money if you are not using it for anything meaningful?" The word meaningful hit like a slap, as if my life, my choices meant nothing because they did not mirror theirs. Gregory kept going. I am serious, man. What kind of future are you planning? You are going to die alone in that apartment with a fat bank account and nobody to inherit it. That is not a life. That is just existing. I tried to redirect. How's work been treating you, Greg? Last we talked, you mentioned a possible promotion, but Amanda was not done. You know what I think. She did not wait for an answer. I think you are scared. Scared of commitment, scared of actually building a real life. So you hide behind this idea of saving for the future, when really, you are just too afraid to live in the present. The room went quiet except for the sound of Lily and Max scraping their forks against their plates, oblivious to the tension suffocating the adults. I pushed food around my plate, my appetite completely gone. I am not afraid. I am content. Content, Gregory repeated like the word tasted bad. That is what people say when they have given up. Gregory opened another bottle of wine, his third of the evening, and I could see the alcohol loosening whatever filter he normally kept on his thoughts. The kids had been sent upstairs to play with their new toys, leaving just the adults. Harold settled into the recliner with a grunt, his face already red from the bourbon he had been nursing. Patricia perched on the arm of the chair, looking at me with an expression that reminded me of someone examining a disappointing purchase. Back in my day, Harold started and I suppressed. A man your age, would have a wife and at least 2 children. Probably 3. That was just what you did. You grew up, you got married, you had a family. You did not sit around making excuses. Times have changed, I offered weakly. Not that much, Patricia added. The fundamentals of life have not changed. People still need companionship. Children still need fathers. What is wrong with you, that you cannot seem to figure that out? Gregory leaned back on the couch, emboldened by his in-laws' support. See, it is not just us saying it. Everyone can see it, Donald. You are wasting your life. I felt like I was being attacked from all sides. I have friends. I have hobbies. I travel. I am happy with my life. Amanda scoffed. Hobbies? Like what? Sitting alone in your apartment playing video games. That is pathetic for a grown man. I go hiking. I am part of a photography club. I volunteer at the animal shelter twice a month. Alone, Gregory cut in. You do everything alone. You hike alone. You travel alone. You eat dinner alone every single night. That is not a life, Donald. That is just killing time until you die. The cruelty of it stunned me into silence. These were supposed to be the people who loved me, and they were tearing apart everything about who I was. Patricia sighed dramatically. Such a shame. You were such a handsome boy growing up. Smart too. And now you are just wasting all that potential. I have a good job, I said, hating how defensive I sounded. I am a senior software engineer. I make good money. I am successful. Success is not just about money, Harold pontificated. Success is about legacy. What legacy are you leaving? Some code that will be obsolete in 5 years. Meanwhile, Gregory here is raising the next generation. That is real success. I looked at Gregory, wondering if he would say something, anything to defend me. Instead, he stood up, swaying slightly, and pointed at me. You want to know what really bothers me? His voice was louder, now aggressive. 6 months ago, I came to you with an opportunity, a real chance to make something of myself. I needed $20,000 to invest in a business deal that could have changed everything for my family. And you said no. Greg, we talked about this, I started. No, you talked. You lectured me about risk and due diligence and being smart with money. But really, you just did not want to help your own brother. Amanda stood up next to him, arms crossed. We have real problems, Donald. Real bills, real mouths to feed, and you are sitting on your savings like some kind of dragon guarding treasure. You could help us. You could actually make a difference in Lily and Max's lives. But instead, you choose to be selfish. That money is mine, I said quietly. I worked for it. And what are you working for? Gregory shouted. Nothing. You are working for nothing. That money is just rotting in your account, doing nothing, meaning nothing. Harold nodded along. When I was your age, I had already put 3 kids through college. A man your age should want a family. should want to pass something on. There is something wrong with someone who does not. I stood up, my hands shaking. I looked around the room at these people who were supposed to care about me, Harold nodding with satisfaction at his own wisdom, Patricia looking at me with pity and disgust, Amanda, her jaw set in righteous anger, and Gregory, my own brother, red-faced and cruel. In that moment something clicked. They did not love me. They did not even like me. They saw me as a resource. A bank. Someone to use when they needed something, and to mock when I would not comply. I remembered then all the times Gregory had asked to borrow money over the years. 2,000 here for car repairs, 500 there for some emergency. He had never paid any of it back. Never even mentioned it again after I handed over the cash. A strange calm washed over me. I smiled, and it must have looked wrong because Amanda actually took a step back. "You are right," I said softly. "I do have no wife, no kids, but I also have something you will never have: peace of mind and self-respect." I walked to the coat rack and pulled on my jacket. My hands were steady now. "Where do you think you are going?" Gregory demanded. "We are not done talking." "Actually, we are. Merry Christmas." I headed for the door. Amanda moved to block my path. "You are just going to walk out. Typical. You cannot handle a real conversation, so you run away." This was an ambush, and I am done being your target. I stepped around her and opened the door. The cold air felt like freedom. "Do not expect us to call you," Gregory yelled after me. "If you walk out that door, you are choosing to be alone." I turned back one last time. I would rather be alone than be used. I walked to my car, got in, and drove away. In the rearview mirror, I could see Gregory standing in the doorway, backlit by the warm glow of his home. For the first time in years, I did not feel guilty. I felt light. I woke up the next morning, December 26th, in my small apartment. The sun was streaming through the windows, catching the dust motes in the air. I lay there for a moment, waiting for the weight of regret to settle on my chest. It never came. Instead, I felt something I had not felt in a long time around my family: relief. I got up, made coffee in the French press I had bought myself last year, and sat by the window watching the snow fall gently on the city below. My phone sat on the counter, silent. No messages from Gregory. No calls from Amanda. Nothing. I spent the day doing exactly what I wanted. I went to the gym, lifting weights and running until my mind was clear and my body was tired. That evening, I met up with Jason and Marcus at our usual bar downtown, a place with good beer and better wings.